Good morning and welcome, students, faculty, family, and friends, and a very special welcome to our School of Journalism graduating seniors and master's degree candidates. We are here today to celebrate a milestone achievement in your life, the end of one journey, the beginning of another. You have survived and thrived during 4, 5, perhaps 6 years of school. You have succeeded where many others have failed, and you've made it despite the many challenges and, shall we say, distractions of college life. And you've done it mostly on your own, but with more than a little help from your friends and family. And I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the parents in the audience who have helped you get to where you are today. Would the parents please stand so we can congratulate you? You've also had some help from a School of Journalism faculty who guided you, pushed you, praised you, sometimes yelled at you, but who in the end taught you how to be responsible and committed media professionals. Your success is also their success, and I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the faculty of the School of Journalism and ask them to stand as well. Today we celebrate your past achievements and we celebrate your future as we launch you out into the real world, the world of getting a job, moving out on your own, doing your own laundry, and paying back your college loans. Now, there's no doubt that you are leaving college during challenging times. While the economy is recovering and hiring is picking up, it may still take some time and some perseverance to find that first job. You're also entering a professional environment that is in flux. Our business, the business of news and mass communications, is undergoing a dramatic transformation. While more and more people are turning to the web and mobile media for their news and information, newspapers and broadcast media are losing readers, viewers, and revenue. Strategic communicators, advertising, and public relations professionals are also trying to figure out how best to target their messages to an increasingly fractured audience. So yes, there is a lot ahead that is uncertain and unknown. But I'm going to tell you something that I truly believe in, and that is this, that even in this tough climate, especially in this tough climate, you are going to do just fine. Because as P.I. Reed School of Journalism graduates, you have nothing to fear. You are multi-skilled and multi-talented. You have the education and the training to adapt to a variety of situations. Your degree has value. These are challenging times, yes, but these are also exciting times, full of endless possibility and endless promise. During tough times, people turn to the media more than ever, looking for information, explanation, and hope. And you will be called upon, as journalists and communicators, to help the public determine what is real and what is relevant in their lives. You will do that by reporting and producing the news across media platforms, by crafting persuasive messages that impact behavior and values, and by using social media to engage and empower a new generation of media consumers. And you will do so with integrity, with heart, and with a great sense of responsibility and purpose. How do we know that? We know that because we know you. We know that you have the skills and the intelligence to excel at whatever profession you choose. We are confident that each of you sitting here today will make your mark, and in the process, you will make the world a better place. Today's commencement speaker is someone who has done just that, a man who has done well in his career and good in his life. Tom Harrison, one of the leading experts in the field of integrated marketing communications, has always looked for opportunities to stand out and excel. As a student at WVU, he studied to be a cell biologist. Now, he didn't become a scientist, but he used his science background to differentiate himself in the workforce. After graduation, Harrison went immediately into pharmaceutical sales, where he quickly became the top seller in his region in just 1 year. He eventually formed his own company, providing marketing services to the healthcare industry, which he recognized as a growth area early on. Harrison's entrepreneurial acumen brought him to the attention of Omnicom, the largest group of marketing services companies in the world. Omnicom not only bought him out, but they hired him to lead their Diversified Agency Services division. And under Harrison's direction, DAS has become Omnicom's largest and most profitable division, serving more than 5,000 clients worldwide and generating revenues of nearly $5 billion a year. Now, in addition to being a highly successful entrepreneur and industry leader, Tom Harrison is also a published author. Again, finding a niche, this time in the glutted business self-help book market, Harrison looked at the science of success. His book, titled Instincts, Tapping Your Entrepreneurial DNA to Achieve Your Business Goals, has been very well received by major authors and entrepreneurs alike. Magic Johnson, five-time NBA champion and CEO of his own corporation, called Instinct a must-read for anyone who's ever dreamed big. Tom Harrison has never been afraid to dream big. But what makes him truly extraordinary is that he has helped others realize their dreams. Over the years, he's been honored for his contributions to a number of charitable organizations and nonprofits. He serves on several boards, including Montefiore Children's Hospital and the New York chapter of the Arthritis Foundation. He served as president of the Westchester County School Board, chair of the Dean's Council at the Steinhardt School of Education at NYU, and co-chair of the New York chapter of the U.S. Olympic Committee. He has also given back significantly to his alma mater, as a guest lecturer, as a consultant, and as a generous supporter of the School of Journalism. His funding of the Harrison Omnicom Professorship in Advertising will help us to hire an outstanding media professional and continue to build the school's national reputation. Harrison has been recognized for his humanitarian efforts and his professional success. In 2006, he was named to the WVU Academy of Distinguished Alumni, and in 2007, WVU awarded him an honorary doctorate degree. He's an all-around great guy with a big career and an even bigger heart. I am proud to introduce to you Dr. Tom Harrison.
Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Is this about the right height for me? Dean Reed, thank you very much for those most kind, welcoming remarks. I appreciate it very much. And it's a great honor for me to be back here on this stage with you, Dean Reed, with the faculty of the School of Journalism, with all of the graduates today, with family members, friends. And as I look out, I took a few minutes, and maybe some of you graduates saw me sort of panning your faces. And I wanted to see what was, or what is, in your faces today. And what I sense is a lot of energy. And I heard a lot of energy as you were coming in. And I see a lot of anticipation on some of your faces. And if you were to talk to me right now, I think your motto would be 2 words: I'm ready. You're ready to go out into this world and make your place, which is what your generation is going to do. And ready, I think you are to compete in this new technological world. I know this School of Journalism very well. I've been associated with it now for quite a number of years. I know the type of instruction that you have received here. I know the school's leadership. I certainly know this school's reputation. And somewhere, although I don't see her right now, there is a young lady in the graduating class who I mentor. So I am totally confident that if you've made it into this room today, you are going to compete and compete very well, and you're all going to do what your generation is here to do, and that's challenge the existing paradigms, challenging everything that my generation set down. So as I'm talking to a group of graduates who are going to challenge everything that this generation did, how did I prepare for today's address? Well, I did a lot of research, and the research I did was to look at what some other folks have done in other institutions in commencement exercise addresses and what their themes have been. And in fact, two gentlemen this week I talked to who gave addresses at at NYU, and I wanted to find out what their themes were. Now, I didn't rip them off, I promise you, but I wanted to just see how people were talking to graduates like you. And they fall into three basic themes, if you will. There are those speakers who talk about themselves. They talk about their careers and how their institution, how their university prepared them for everything that was about to happen to them in their career. Then there are the speakers who talk about your success and that you're to define your own success and not let someone else do it for you. And then there's a third group of speakers who talk about career paths. And I've done this in the past, and I talk about how careers can be very dislinear, that when you leave here, you may not know what it is that you really want to do, and that your career might take several paths. So when I think about all that, what is my message to you today? Well, it's not going to be any of those, because I think there's something for your generation that's even more important. I think you know about your career. I think you know that your success is to be your success, and you don't care about my career. You really don't. So let me tell you what I'm going to talk to you about today. I'm going to talk to you about punctuation points. Now, the punctuation points to which I refer are not the commas and the semicolons and the periods and the exclamation marks that end a thought in a sentence or a paragraph. But the punctuation points that I'm going to refer to today that's going to affect every one of you in your career are the people who will come into your lives and who will say something to you that will put you back on your heels and make you ask yourself, is this career right for me? Am I doing all that I can? Or it might be an event that you observe or something that you see that will take you off your balance. It might just stop you in your tracks. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. 4 decades ago, there was a young PhD student at West Virginia University working on his degree in cell biology and physiology. And one Saturday morning, it was one of the normal Morgantown Saturday mornings. When you want to do something, it's always raining and damp and foggy. And it was exactly that. And this graduate student was in his lab killing rats. And his advisor said to him that Saturday morning, you know, I've been looking at you in your lab for 3.5 years, and I think you might think about a career, a more commercial career. In fact, he said, I think you might consider leaving research and academia altogether and go into the business world. I think it might suit you better. I was that student. It always gets me. Do you have any idea how those sentences punctuated my life, changed my career, altered everything that was about to happen to me? I cannot tell you how emotionally stunned I was that rainy Saturday morning. But that advisor knew me better than I knew myself. The statement that he made to me that day changed my future forever, changed my fortunes forever. And it was just one of a series of these punctuation points that I want to talk to you about that have affected my life and that have allowed me to capitalize on a career that was right for me instead of molding me for a career that he saw was really not right for me. And I'm certainly not the only person in the world who can attest to the life-changing and career-altering power of these punctuation points. And again, I'm telling you, they will affect you. So let me, if you will, give you 4 brief stories, some of the people you may know. A young college student barely received a passing grade on a business paper that described an overnight letter and package delivery service that would airship to a central distribution center in Tennessee, and then in the middle of the night turn everything back and ship to local distribution areas so that this mail and these packages could be delivered, often by 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, this was a business paper. The professor read the business paper, and what he saw were all the airplanes flying around the country all night long, thousands of people in Tennessee trying to sort all these boxes and letters, getting them back on airplanes to go somewhere else by 10 o'clock in the morning. He said, as he gave this student almost a failing grade, "This company ain't flying." And that was a quote. Well, the student was Fred Smith, and his innovative idea for a company was just a little company called Federal Express, now called FedEx. Fred's punctuation point that energized him was that grade, that bad grade on that paper that he knew outlined a blueprint for a company that would address an unmet need that was forming in this nation, and that was immediate gratification. We needed our mail earlier. We needed it tomorrow. Fred crystallized his vision for his company and for his personal success in that paper. And he knew that the bad grade didn't mean that the idea was bad. He knew that it meant he had to sell it harder, and he did. And by the way, I'm not sure where that professor is today, but this company is flying about 1 billion miles a year around the world. So that company did fly. Then there's another story of a middle-aged man about 50 years old who was employed in a small Midwestern chain of home improvement stores called Handy Dan's. One day, for absolutely no reason at all, this gentleman at 50 years old was fired. Now, in today's world, and if there's any lawyers out there, this would be called being fired without cause. And today, that would cost Handy Dan's a boatload of money, but not then, because this employee had no desire to be litigious. It was a different time. It was a different world. Bernie Marcus knew that he was good at what he did. What he didn't know is why he was fired. He loved his job. He enjoyed helping people renovate their homes. In fact, he actually showed them how to do it. But still, he was fired. And being fired him up. It was his punctuation point to start a competitor to Handy Dan's. And oh, by the way, the name of that company is Home Depot. You may have seen it somewhere. It's in every major city around this country. Handy Dan's, no longer to be found. Bernie told me personally as I was writing my book, and he's actually a case study in my book, that being fired lit a fire under him to do even better at what it is that he loved to do. Then there's a story of a young girl named Debbie, who as a young girl just liked to bake cookies. She would bake cookies for her family, for the football team, for the baseball team, the Rotary Club, the school bake sales, anyone who would eat her cookies. She loved to bake. Over her younger years, her family said, you know, it's kind of foolish. All you want to do is bake cookies. And then later, as she got married to the then Mr. Wright, he said, you know, this is frivolous. I don't want you baking cookies. I don't believe in this at all. And then one evening, they were at this very dignified dinner party. And the question was asked of Debbie, so what are you going to do with your life? And Debbie uttered these words, well, I'm trying to get my life orientated. It was just at that point when she said the word orientated that the host of that evening got out of his dark brown leather chair, went over to his dark brown oak bookshelves, pulled off a dictionary, threw it across the table, hit her in the chest, and said, young lady, orientate is not a word. Try to find it. It was at that moment when she got hit with the dictionary, that her punctuation point crystallized in her mind, and Mrs. Field's cookies took shape in her mind. She baked a lot of cookies, a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. And by the way, the husband who didn't believe in her, gone. And then finally, let me bring it up to date a little bit. Steve Jobs. Everyone know who Steve Jobs is? Anyone who doesn't know who? Okay. The original founder of Apple was rejected by his own company. He endured humiliation and personal pain when he was overnight cast out of his company and was no longer the Silicon Valley wonder boy, but he was a technology has-been. pushed out of the company he founded, washed up, so to speak. Now, I call that a punctuation point. Now, I'm not here today to tell you that every punctuation point is going to be you're going to get fired or something that bad is going to happen to you, because there are good punctuation points, and I'll share one later with you. But without Steve, and you may know the story, Apple began losing its way. It became less competitive, certainly less entrepreneurial, less risky, and less relevant. And in 1997, the board of Apple welcomed Steve back because they wanted to, quote, just go back to the glory years. Well, Steve did return, but Apple never returned to the glory years. It never looked back. His first act was to go back into his office and remove all those traces of the glory years. All he wanted to do was to have his return to reflect progress, meeting the needs of tomorrow's technology by embracing how it is used today. Apple's continuous insights and innovation has given every one of us in this room fingertip technology that is changing how we communicate with others, how we engage with brands and companies, how we find ourselves in a city, how we locate friends, now how we read, how we find information, how we listen to music, how we purchase goods, how we compute. Steve is changing our lives one day at a time, one device at a time. The boy wonder did come back, and Steve is singularly the most powerful voice in technology today. Like Bernie Marcus when he was fired from Handy Dan's, being pushed out of Apple just ignited Steve's business instincts. So why do I share these 4, now 5 with mine, stories with you? Because I want each of you to be open to the probability that a punctuation point or a punctuation person will present to you at any time when you least might expect it. In fact, maybe today. When you're confronted with one of your punctuation points, all I ask is that you look at it as potentially a positive sign, one that you open your eyes to, listen to, embrace, wrestle with, and accept as a career-leading beacon, as I did when my advisor said those words to me, or reject it as genuinely not for you. But reject it only if you fully weighed all of its possibilities, and accept it only if you think it's right for you. But don't for one moment think that punctuation points or punctuation people cannot happen to you, because they will. And don't assume that punctuation points only happen to those people who already have it, quote, already going for them, because that's not the case. I often see people who are confronted with opportunities and obstacles that I consider their punctuation point, and they just go about their day, lives, and routine, and they ignore them. And I think it's a shame because they just don't take the time to think about them. Now, I don't know if each of us has a certain number of predetermined punctuation points or not, and that if we miss them all, we're on a long journey to a really lackluster career. I don't know that for a fact. But what I do know for absolute certain is that every one of you graduates in this room today will be faced by at least one punctuation point to assess, react to, favorably or not. Punctuation points, as I said, can open our eyes to our careers and to a career of possibility. Possibility for a career that's filled with forward energy, and if you do it right, palpitating hearts, wanting more, wanting and achieving our personal success. Success. So now what's been written about success over history? Well, Thomas Fuller said, "A wise man turns chance into good fortune." Now, that is all about punctuation points. Virgil, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, said, "They are able because they think they are able." You're going to do what you think you can do. Now, more recently, Madonna has said, "I always thought I should be treated as a star, so I am." She saw herself as a star, and she became one. More recently, Oprah said, "When I look at the future, it's so bright that it burns my eyes." Even in the Bible, there is reference to success. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. I feel like Billy Graham. "Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Be careful what you wish for." And then Roger Babson said, the successful man is the one who had a chance and took it. Now, when you stop and think about all of the quotes that I just stated, for the past hundreds, actually thousands of years, they're all saying the same thing. If you only wish for success to happen to you, you're going to wait a long time for that success. But if you get up out of bed every morning, open to the possibility and visualizing your plan to get a step closer to your success, if you dream it, if you think it, if you focus on it, if you work toward it, and if you work forward to it every day, it's going to happen. You must engage in your success. Success is not passive at all. And you must be open to the punctuation points that will ignite change and catalyze your success. So as I look at the world today, the world in which each of you will compete, I see a lot of hope. In fact, it's like Oprah's quote, the opportunities are almost blinding. Such great signs, so many opportunities for self-expression, for entrepreneurial ventures, for self-made successes. Change is all around us. And as Dean Reed said, technology and innovation are changing the discipline of journalism. Now, not its foundation of fair, unbiased reporting of information and dialogue, but by giving us new avenues for its expression. We're in the new era of transactional journalism. We are witnessing a rapid transformation of print media into online outlets of communication. The public has more free access to information than at any time in the history of journalism. There are new rules. This is both exciting and challenging at the same time. You have a great opportunity to create your mark on your industry, to differentiate yourselves, each of yourselves, by expressing yourself and altering the old models that I talked about. Your job, your only job, is to carve out your role within the change. Like Andrew Ross Sorkin, now an acclaimed New York Times journalist who recently wrote Too Big to Fail, one of the most gripping narratives that I've read of the recent financial crisis. He is now, because he wrote the book, a sought-after expert on the economy, when he wasn't before. And why is this? Because he reported his way, because he challenged the system, just as I know you will. He created the debate, and he owns the debate, and there's no reason why you can't do this for yourselves. Now, in addition to the significant changes that are facing journalism, your chosen field, there's a lot of economic change right now just waiting for a new conversation, for new dialogue, for some fresh views. There is a continuous trend towards globalization that is flattening our world and equalizing all of the players on the global stage. There are those who even report that America has lost its edge, its power, its place in the world. Some actually say that the East, like China or maybe even India, will be the next all-powerful nations. But those who say that might just be wrong. Those who believe it might just be wrong, because they're reporting on the outward symptoms and not the underlying diagnostic causes of those symptoms. They are not reporting on future prospects in an interconnected world. Who among you will see this differently? While the United States may have, for a brief moment in its history, lost its way financially, and yes, we've just worked our way through the worst of the Great Recession, we're beginning to experience growth again, and many markets and many corporations have just reported their best financial quarters in several years. I feel that we're working towards a spectacular upturn that will provide new employment opportunities for each of you in industries that we haven't even begun to think about today. There will be much for knowledgeable journalists to debate and to report on. Can you envision your role in this conversation? I can, and it's really an important role. Now, America was, is, and always will be the greatest country in the world, giving more opportunity to more people than any other economy on this flat earth. Yes, some manufacturing is leaving the U.S. soil for Asian soil, but how many have reported on jobs lost? We hear it every day, every week. 8:30 on Fridays on Bloomberg, you get the unemployment reports. Everyone's reporting on that. But how many newscasts have referred to the longer-term strategy underpinning something called the smiley face curve? None. Not one person has reported on that. How many even know what it is? But it is, and what the future implications are for America, its people, its graduates, all of you. The smiley face curve, the thing that you used to see when you walked into Walmart, is not frivolous. It is the icon of our economic future, and no one has reported on it. Simply stated, the smiley face curve shows that America is outsourcing the least profitable part of the supply chain, the manufacturing, and it's okay, while we are retaining our control over innovation, design, marketing, sales, the high margin, highest profit parts of the new profit chain, the new supply chain. Where we want to be as a nation is exactly where we are headed in this flat, interconnected global economy that always looks at America, as it always has, for innovation. We are and have been the innovative leaders, and you are the generation of journalists who will be giving credibility to our leadership in this new flat world. Who will be the first journalist to dig into the smiley face curve and really explain that it's okay for manufacturing to go offshore? Who's going to own this debate? Will it be you? Then there's higher education. Again, we hear all the time how we've lost our prominence. But higher education, folks, remains America's best industry. Just think about the education that each of you have just had the privilege to receive. America is a talent meritocracy where students are taught to reason, not just to take exams, where most of the world's entrepreneurs, inventors, and risk takers are educated. Let me say that again. It is in the United States where most of the world's entrepreneurs, inventors, and risk takers get their education. There's a reason why foreign nations send more and more of their students here to be trained, because we continue to be the most innovative, most insightful, most entrepreneurial nation on this globalized earth. We're trained to think here. Do you realize that you're graduating today in a nation that's academically regarded as second to none? Have you thought about the world in which you're going to be entering tomorrow morning? The opportunities that you can carve out for yourself? The dialogue that you can create and own? All this change and opportunity is here for us today. It's here for you now. Would I like to be in your shoes today, graduating again from WVU, understanding that somewhere and at some time, something or someone, one of my punctuation points, is going to make itself clear to me, make me take a look at my career in a new and inspiring way, knowing that what really matters is how I define my personal success and how I relate to the society that I wish to make better. In Sarah Palin's words, you betcha I would. So what you still may not see is that the world is moving in a good place. We've had the recession. We've had the decade of self-important corporate titans. The economy is in upturn. Now, maybe it's not perfect yet, but it's headed in the right direction. Good news is beginning to counterbalance bad news. Original thinkers are fashionable. Innovation, relevance, insight, and niceness, being nice, are all back. Now, companies for which you will work are beginning to have a conscience. Just like you, almost every corporate CEO that I know genuinely talks about being socially responsible, giving back to society, being responsible for the environment, inspiring hope. And it's a good thing because the younger crop of graduates, all of you, want to give back. You want to work for a company and a leader who authentically stand for something good. Throughout the 212 companies that I manage at Omnicom, I see new young talent coming in all the time that want to do as much for their careers as they want to do for other people and for their environment, for our environment. And while we are the generation who says it's nice to give back, I think you're going to be the generation who's going to change that language, and you're going to begin to give forward with an eye to future responsibility for yourselves and your world, because you care and because you can make this change. Do you sense the potential for young journalists today? I see the potential for success for each of you being just unbelievable today. So have you any idea now what I see for your future? Breaking news, folks. It's called possibility. You are possibly graduating into the most exciting world any graduate has been thrust into in the past few decades. I want you to think about that. Where hope is high, positive change is everywhere, greed is no longer in fashion, giving forward is modern. One of the most significant words in our society today is modern. And giving forward is relevant. Professions are being defined that weren't even thought of 5 years ago. Where the world is flat, and wherever you choose to live and work, there should be opportunity and new possibilities for each of you. A world in which we actually care for the first time about people and our environment. Where your generation is sought after because of the changes that you are going to make. You have a license called a diploma to make change. Where the possibility for your success rests in your hands and will be shaped by a series of punctuation points or punctuation people that I can guarantee you will absolutely present themselves to you just as they have to me and they continue to present to me. So graduates, I've said a lot. You've heard a lot. And you might just over time forget everything that you heard here today. And it's okay. But let me give you something to remember for your entire career. An insight that was carved into a stone and sent to me 2 weeks ago. Not 20 years ago. 2 weeks ago. It's another one of my punctuation points. And it reads like this. Some people make things happen. Some people watch things happening. Other people wonder what has happened. Be the people who make things happen. It's in your hands. You're in total control of your life, your career, and your personal success. I wish you many punctuation points.
Thank you, Tom. Tom Harrison, an innovative and original thinker and a very nice man. Thank you so much for your inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gina Nestor, a vocal performance major who will sing My Home Among the Hills, composed in 1963 in honor of West Virginia's centennial celebration by Clarksburg native Mr. E.W. James.
There's a land of rolling mountains where the sky is blue above, and though I may roam, I heard scarlet trees, and in the spring the robins sing, while apple blossoms whisper in the breeze. And there is music in the flashing streams, and joy in fields of daffodils. Laughter through the happy valleys of my home among the hills.
Thank you, Ms. Nestor. And now, soon-to-be graduates, the moment you've been waiting for, the granting of the diplomas. Associate Professor and Visual Journalism Chair, Professor Joel Beeson, will read the names of the graduation candidates in the following order: IMC, then MSJ candidates, and then each of you by undergraduate program. The program directors will hood the master's degree candidates, and I will present the diplomas. For the bachelor's degree candidates, program chairs will present the diplomas. And also on stage to congratulate all graduation candidates to represent the university will be WVU's Vice President for University Relations, Chris Martin. So at this time, we will begin the official conferring of the degrees.
First, I'll read the candidates for Master of Science in Integrated Marketing Communications. Brenda Aiken. Benjamin Joseph Barish. A.J. Chorbak. Julianne Nicole Davis. Kimberly Ann Fromm. Catherine Younger Gert. Adrienne Marie Glowski. Badra Gordon. Tracy Ann Gould. Megan Elkins Hanna. Nicole Anna Hastow Brunig. Tracy Gale Liebig. Patty Michelle Maurer. Ashley Nicole Mobley. Lauren Nicole Peretti. Robin Denise Prophet. George Martin Ray. Nicole Renee Riggleman. Jennifer Terhune Taylor. Francine Stacy Williamson. Next, I'll read the names for candidates for Master of Science in Journalism. Lisa K. Brown. Stephen Wesley Butera. Nicole Bernadette Fernandez. Nicole Renee Lamal. Hong Van Tham Thai. Heather Renee Sager. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Advertising please move toward the stage? Ready? Christina Nicole Angelo. William Charles Barnes. Michael Allen Barron. Hillary Victoria Baum. Ashland Marie Bright. Haley Lane Burdette. Matthew Richard Burkhardt. Brian Michael Cash. Melissa Ann Cornine. Elena Brooke Coxon. Kayla Michelle Donathan. Mark Thomas Donahue. Benjamin Collins Dooley. Kevin Michael Duvall. Roxana Brooke Edelstein. Catherine Mary Frentino. Melissa Brooke Giancola. Brian Joseph Gordon. Benjamin Franklin Haynes IV. John Eleftherios Joseph. Andrew James Keenan. Tanya Adrian KF. Elisa Agnes King. John Francis Krakowski. Amanda Renee Matheny. Morgan Arlie McCormick. Bobby Joe Mosser. Renee Elizabeth Motto. Brittany Lee Nelson. Laura Kimberly Nitzel. Alex R. Osgood. Delia Nicole Pavlichko. Andrew C. Peverly. Lynn Francis Perry. Alia Giselle Rashid. Lauren Elizabeth Peasy. Vanessa Marie Pugh. Caitlin Elizabeth Reeves. Jared William Renault. Shayna Lee Sublet. David Patrick Salisbury. Stephen Scott Story. Summer Ann Thompson. Robert Vincent Vosick. Elizabeth Ann Weber. Bethany Ann Williams. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Broadcast News please move toward the stage? Ashton Page Abella. Christopher Anthony Andrews. Gabrielle Elizabeth Ash. David J.A. Bennett. Marianne Hunter Bosley. Brandon Matthew Brown. Kayla Rose Champagne. Daniel Patrick Coyne. Thomas Garrett Cullen. Alexander Matthew Davis. Haley Marie Dino. Benjamin Paul Eschenbach. Frank James Fontanaza. Sean Patrick Foy. S.J. Goldberg. Austin Lee Hamilton. Matthew Edward Kelly. Lauren Ashley Mons. Taylor Davis Moser. Aaron Reynolds Murray. It's Hayuko. Anthony John Payuko. Christine F. Papadopoulos. Okay. Corey Michael Priest. Brendan Ratcliffe. Jason Nathaniel Renault. Whitney Sloan Veach. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism News Editorial please move toward the stage? Thomas Flynn Altmeyer. Matthew Wayne Armstrong. Leanne Marie Arthur. Isaac Thompson Broyles. James August Carbone. Gregory Ryan Carey. Justin Michael Channel. Catherine Elizabeth Griffith. Cortland Alyssa Hicks. Gavin Blazer Matella. Jonathan De Erico Alfredo. Catherine Joanne Patton. Brianna Chloe Cash Dollar Swisher. Ryan P. Tegater. Jonathan Andrew Vickers. Nicole Ingrid Janowski. Brian Anthony Young. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Journalism Public Relations please move toward the stage? Nicole Marie Alderman. Ashley Ryan Alford. Justine Marie Bajak. Kelly Dawn Barnard. Claire Butler Barth. Cassandra Annette Bogus. Amanda Ruth Borelli. Molly Jo Burdette. Marshall Jesse Burns. Ashton Brett Cantor. Nicholas Andrew Cavender. Brian David Church. Jamie Lynn Coffin. Mary Kathleen Collins. Leslie Ann Cruz. Kelly Lynn Cruz. Lindsay Ann Davis. Antonio James DeVitas. Michael James Dowdell. Emma Christine Draper. Chelsea Lynn Dunaway. Christopher Lee Edwards. Catherine Louise Frick. Casey M. Gallagher. Morgan Elizabeth Gandy. Hillary Diane Given. Brittany Megan Golden. India? Yeah. Okay. Gandhi? Yeah. Okay. Washington, India Gandhi. Caitlin Jane Heaney. Adrian Lee Hendon. Joshua David Horner. Brandon William Hoke. Justin Lee Hoke. Scott Archer Houston. Sarah Elizabeth Kessel. Caitlin Rose Kish. Marissa Eileen Klass. Crystal Lynn Cochet. Taylor Brooke Louderman. Elizabeth Ann Margolin. Catherine Marie McCarrison. Marilyn Elaine McCarthy. Melissa Jo McDilda. Caitlin Elizabeth McKee. Shayla K. Miller. Kristen Marie Mitchell. Jenny Lee Manello. Jessica Lynn Nowak. Megan Casey Alawa. Elise M. Petroni. Jacob Alexander Phillips. Tabitha Drew Porterfield. Ashley Rose Pruitt. Leanne Russell. Jessica Catherine Sastry. Marcus Terrell Saunders. Stephanie Elizabeth Smith. Manuel Ian Spann. Cambria Jeanette Stubel. Catherine Margaret Tavolachi. Heather Elizabeth Tawney. Brandon James Thomas. Congratulations. Catherine Aaron Volkovic. Bobby Michelle Weinberg. Caroline Jane Wilson. Shannon Marie Windish. Kristen Alexandria Wishon. Lauren Elizabeth Wright.
I can't say congratulations yet, so hold on. I would now like to introduce Chris Martin, WVU's Vice President for University Relations. In addition to representing the university, Martin also represents excellence in journalism and mass communications as an award-winning journalist and journalism professor, and as the former dean of the P.I. Reed School of Journalism. Martin will lead the official conferring of West Virginia University degrees.
Okay, now we're going to make this official. Candidates from the Pearlie Isaac Reed School of Journalism, your profession's role in communicating ideas and building a solid context for information in a rapidly growing and rapidly shifting world is essential in what right now seems to be an uncharted future, but one filled with endless possibility. You're going to leave here armed with skills and knowledge and passion to re-envision the power of journalism and communication. And you're ready right now to navigate the new and alarmingly wide world of information and informed ideas. So as you enter that world, never lose the commitment you got here, the commitment to seeing with clarity, speaking with conviction, and seeking the truth. Will the class of 2010 please stand? By the virtue. Okay, you ready? I'm going to make this official. You ready? By the virtue of the authority vested in me by West Virginia University Board of Governors, I hereby confer upon you the degrees for which you have been recommended with all the rights and honors and privileges appertaining thereto. As West Virginia University's newest graduates, you may move your tassels to the left side of your cap as the symbol of your achievement. Congratulations.
All right, please be seated. And now I can say it. Congratulations, class of 2010. Now, while all of our graduates are special, we also pay tribute today to those students who have demonstrated academic excellence. I'd first of all like to recognize our students in the WVU Honors College who are identified by their gold gowns. And I'm going to ask now for the Honors College students to please stand and be recognized. You will also notice that many of our students are wearing gold and blue braided cords. These are students who are graduating with Latin honors, either cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, which is based on the student's overall grade point average. Among those students are also members of Kappa Tau Alpha, the Journalism and Mass Communications Honor Society. So, will the Latin honor students and the KTA members please stand and be recognized? The School of Journalism is also proud that we have 2 students who were named this year as WVU Foundation Outstanding Seniors for 2010, an award that recognizes the top 1% of graduating seniors for their contributions and their achievements in scholarship, leadership, and service. Those students are Katie Griffith and Elizabeth Margolin. Please stand. In addition, the School of Journalism honors its own top graduating seniors, and these are the students who have earned the highest grade point average in their sequence, as well as the senior with the highest GPA overall in the graduating class. So at this time, I will be calling each of you to the stage one at a time. And I'm going to keep you all here, and we'll save the applause for when all of you are on stage. So the top scholar in advertising, actually, you can clap anytime you want, I don't care. The top scholar in advertising is Ashlyn Marie Bright. The top scholar in broadcast news is Gabriel Elizabeth Ash. The top scholar in news editorial, Jonathan Andrew Vickers. The top scholar in public relations, Kristen Alexandria Wishon. The top overall graduating senior, the student with the highest grade point average overall, Jonathan Andrew Vickers. The best and brightest, congratulations. Either way. I would also like to take a moment to recognize some of our outstanding faculty. Last year, the School of Journalism instituted its own faculty awards for outstanding teaching. The Golden Quill Awards honor faculty selected by students as the top instructors in the school. The Golden Quill Award for full-time faculty this year goes to Dr. Sarah McGee. Dr. McGee is an assistant professor in broadcast journalism. And the Golden Quill Award for instructor goes to Rick B. Bouch. Rick here. Rick teaches that class Journalism 101, which many of you have had, and he's also the technology coordinator for the school's IMC Master's Degree Program. Congratulations to both of you. And I'm also going to say something now. I'm going to embarrass one of our faculty members, and he may never forgive me. But I also want to congratulate the newest member of our tenured faculty, Associate Professor Dr. Sammy Lee. And now I'm pleased to introduce to you one of our outstanding alumni, Brianna Warner. Brianna received an undergraduate degree in English and Media Studies from High Point University in 2006, but then she earned her most important degree, her master's degree in journalism from the P.I. Reed School of Journalism in 2008. After graduation, she was hired as a press assistant in West Virginia Senator Jay Rockefeller's D.C. office, and she has since worked her way up to state press secretary. Brianna moved back to West Virginia in January, and she currently works from Rockefeller's Charleston, West Virginia office. Please join me in welcoming Brianna Warner as she will deliver the Wvu Alumni Charge to the 2010 graduating class.
On behalf of all the graduates of the university who have preceded you, I extend to each member of the class of 2010 congratulations and best wishes. From this day forward, your names are forever linked to West Virginia University. The quality of a university is known by the reputation of its graduates. When employers see that your education has prepared you to excel in the workplace, that will enhance WVU's reputation and the value of your own degree. You will be this institution's best ambassadors. With that in mind, I offer this charge to you, the class of 2010. Work hard, take risks, and don't fear making mistakes. Put your education to work improving our society. Develop a global perspective and apply your efforts to creating a more peaceful and more just world. Honor the sacrifices of those who came before you and do all you can to help those who will follow. Above all, never stop learning. Read, explore, travel, and expand your circle of friends. As you build new friendships, take care to nurture those you have made at WVU. Maintain your connection with West Virginia University. Show your Mountaineer pride, not just on game days, but every day in every place life takes you. Return to campus when you can to visit favorite professors and relive precious memories. As you leave today, consider the words of esteemed former WVU faculty member Maurice Brooks. He wrote, "Thus it is with those nurtured in Appalachia, they leave, but they look back, remembering pleasant things. The land has claimed them, and its ties will not be severed. At West Virginia University, you will always have a home among the hills."
Thank you, Brianna. Let's have another round of applause for the graduating class of 2010. Finally today, as you leave WVU, I would like to impart some final and brief words of advice. First of all, as you enter the working world, be brave. Most of you are leaving the safety of the school environment for a new phase in your life. You're about to embark on a journey, but nobody has given you a roadmap. Don't let anybody fool you. Your 20s are a challenging time as you figure out what you want to do and who you want to be and how you want to live your life. And the liberating but also scary thing is that these will be your decisions, nobody else. Not your parents, not your teachers, not your boyfriend or your girlfriend can determine your future. But don't let the fear of the unknown paralyze you. Get started, get moving, take chances. Pursue one path, and if it doesn't pan out, find another. If someone says no, find somebody else to say yes. Be focused and determined, and make your own breaks. There are many examples of successful WVU graduates who have done just that. They include Tom Harrison, whose story you heard today, Loretta Yaselli, who is sitting on our platform today. She is the former communications director for the Clinton White House. Frank Ahrens, Washington Post business correspondent and blogger extraordinaire. Scott Widmeyer, founder and CEO of one of the most successful independent public relations agencies in the country, Brianna Warner. And recently, Justin Weaver, the son of a coal miner and a first-generation college student. Justin Weaver sat where you are sitting just 3 years ago. Today, he is a segment producer for Good Morning America and one of the youngest producers at ABC. And he got there, not by having an Ivy League pedigree or family connections, but by taking advantage of every opportunity that was available to him and by working harder and smarter than everyone else, which is something that you need to do too. You need to be smart. Not just book smart, but savvy, which means seeing the bigger picture and figuring out how you fit into it. Be an avid student of your profession, determine what is needed and how you can add value. You also need to know your own strengths and your weaknesses, and you need to find a career that allows you to capitalize on those strengths and manage those weaknesses. Tom Harrison's story is a perfect example. He envisioned a career as a scientist, but early on he figured out what he was really good at, and he used that self-knowledge to build a highly successful career. Which leads to another bit of advice, and that is you need to be yourself. Figure out what motivates you, what inspires you, what you love to do. Find your own voice, your own passion. Be your own brand. If you are authentic in your work and life, you will be seen as a leader and a role model, and people will gravitate to you. Sure, you need to adapt to the needs of the marketplace because you need a job. But in the end, you also have to stay true to what you do best and what you believe in. Otherwise, you won't be happy, and you probably won't be all that successful. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, you need to be loyal. Loyal to your family, your friends, to your various communities. And I'm not just talking about your friends on Facebook. I'm talking about your connections to real people whom you see and touch, who know you and love you, faults and all, and who will always be there for you in the good times and the bad. Along those lines, I want you to consider the School of Journalism one of your communities and part of your extended family. As you travel through life, remember, we're still here to help you, guide you, and when you need it, give you that good kick in the you-know-what. And someday, when you make it big, and you're going to make it big, do the right thing and share your gifts with the next generation of P.I. Reed School of Journalism graduates. There is nothing more rewarding than helping a young person get his or her start in the world and in their career, as our faculty and generous alumni like Tom Harrison can attest to. So, graduating class of 2010, good luck. Hang tough, give back, and have fun. Remember, this is your life, nobody else's. Make it matter. Congratulations. We will miss you. And now, would everyone please rise for the singing of the Alma Mater?